Alright, welcome to an M12 Sealed event. It is actually the second M12 Sealed event that I've done. The first one I did not manage to. There were just some issues with the video. But I only bring it up to say that I haven't had a lot of experience playing M12 Sealed. I played a couple of paper events, and this is, and then there's one other than this that is not on camera. So we're going to have a look here. Sort by rarity, as we always do. Vengeful Pharaoh is a total beating, and Call to the Grave is a total beating, and Solemn Simulacrum is going to make our deck no matter what. Aegis Angel is pretty good. I mean, you never say no to a 5/5 flyer for 6, and it has a decently relevant ability. Goblin Chieftain is nothing special. Jace's Archivist is actually very good. We'll have to see what our deck, our pool supports, but this can really grind somebody out in a hurry if you have any way of abusing it or whatever. So let's go back by color. We're definitely looking at black first. We have Reassembling Skeleton, which is insane with the Call to the Grave because you can just return it to play every time. There's a Gravedigger. That's going to make our deck. 3 Drifting Shades, man. Okay, Soren's Thirst. Definitely going to make the deck. Doomblade, definitely going to make the deck. Child of Night, definitely going to make the deck. Looks like white-black. White-black is looking the best. We're going to look at everything else, but I like what I've seen in both white and black. Vengeful Pharaoh, Call to the Grave. I kind of like Diabolic Tutor in this deck just because we have 2 really great cards in Vengeful Pharaoh and Call to the Grave that we might want to tutor for. We'll pull it down. Sorting these by cost, we see a good handful of small drops, but not a lot of creatures. So I'm not really sure whether we'll want. Have a second Child of Night? Sweet. So yeah, I'm probably gonna want this Onyx Mage. Goblin Pikers are pretty good. And then the rest of this stuff, we'll just see. I'm not sure yet. We don't have any Bloodthirst guys in here, so again, not sure. White offers us the Aegis Angel, Gideon's Lawkeeper, Double Pacifism, Celestial Purge. We probably won't start, but we want to keep that in mind because it is quite a large game out of the sideboard. Red-black is a pretty strong archetype, but there's a lot of like green-white, value flyers decks, and white-blue skies is always there. Blue gives us Frost Breath, which I really like, although I'm not sure how good it is in this sort of brew. Archivist, Double Adept, Bell Tower Sphinx is more than fine. Mind Control is absolutely insane, although slightly less insane than in previous versions, just because you're more likely to have to use it on like a 3/3 or a 4/4 than you were in the past. Also, there's Demystify and Naturalize, which are both good against the other auras and things like that, and so they're a bit more common. There's also stuff like Stave Off, etc. So blue is pretty competitive. I'm a little surprised. Red has 2 Gorehorn Minotaurs, which are my favorite in aggressive decks. Very little beats a 5/5 for 4, and so that's nice. I also see an Incinerate, Blood Ogre, obviously very good, even just as a 2/2 first strike. 2 Stormblood Berserkers, that is nuts. Crimson Mage is fine. Shock is good. Goblin Arsonist is good. So yeah, this pool is actually very good. We're gonna have a good mix of builds. Look at this. Look at this. We got an Arachnus Web, a Greater Basilisk, Stinger Fling Spider, Giant Spider, Stampeding Rhino is fine, Sacred Wolf is pretty good, and Solemn Simulacrum's got to make the deck. Rusted Sentinel is a 3/4 for 4, that's pretty solid. And yeah. Scepter of Empires would probably make an aggressive build. So we have got to pick out of this pile. Well, what jumps out at me here? The red stuff is obviously very aggressive, has a good handful of removal. Shock and Incinerate are removal spells that can double as Bloodthirst enablers for our 4 Bloodthirst. I mean, these guys are just... Berserker and Gorehorn Minotaurs, I think, are 2 of the 3 best Bloodthirst creatures, along with the, below rare, along with the 2/2 Lifelinker in black that we don't have. The only thing is, we have this Call to the Grave and Vengeful Pharaoh. Our aggressive builds don't really play well to that so much. Whereas, I don't know though. We have 2 Pacifisms, an O-Ring, a Lawkeeper, a Good Flyer, and a Bomb in white. Red has some smaller, more consistent stuff. We do have the Solemn Simulacrum. If we want to run 3 colors, we do have 1 piece of fixing. Let's see. I think most of our black is more set up to play more of a controlling role than an aggressive role. Gravedigger, buys back our Child of Night. We want to play Child of Night as a defensive creature that blocks their 2-drop and gains us 2 life. Sorin's Thirst, a good tempo card, kills their 2-drop, gains us some life, that sort of thing. Call of the Grave, punishes them for having a lot of creatures in play, but rewards us, for having reassembling skeleton every turn while we grind them out, etc. Do we have any zombies? Just not a zombie. Not a zombie. Not a zombie. Gravedigger is a zombie, so we can keep him around. Vengeful Pharaoh is a zombie, and we have Call to the... Yeah, that's just disgusting. I'm sorry. That's absurd on every level. So, the question is now, I don't think green is strong enough to be... I think green is outpaced by our other colors. Because white offers us a bomb flyer, blue offers us a bomb in mind control, and Archivist is pretty good. Blue also has good flyers, which we're gonna need because we don't have a lot of flying, so we don't want to just lose to a deck with a bunch of the 1/3 vigilant flyers, the Griffins. We don't want to have to spend good removal on cheap flyers. It's tough, especially because we have such great aggressive, and these guys are fine even in control. Let's cut the blue and white and see what that would look like, because I feel like some of white's best cards are splashable. So if we go by converted mana cost here, we have a lot of 2-drops that enable. We have 3, 4 counting this guy, early drops that enable, but we've got no 3-drops to speak of. And I guess if we think of these as 3-drops because they can be turned on by, that's not a terrible build, and that's 20 of our 40 cards. So in this build, we would probably splash. We'd probably play 17 lands and splash the Pacifisms and the O-Ring off a couple planes and the Simulacrum. So that's not terrible. In fact, well, the other thing we could do is play... Man, there's so much good in this pool. As good as this guy is, and I kind of feel like I have to play these with the burn, get really aggressive. So what would that be bad against? Well, it's not consistent because we don't have a lot of early enablers to where we can always get our guys online. We also don't have a lot of, we don't have evasive creatures. This would definitely make that deck with 4 Bloodthirst creatures and no 3-drops. And then maybe it would be better to just play Crimson Mage instead of splashing the white. We could just play the Crimson Mage, and if anything cheap, like Taste, I would maybe play Taste of Blood. It's not really that good. Blood Rage Vampires gets a little better in that sort of aggressive style. And then maybe Lava Axe. And then run 16 land. Okay, so we'll definitely keep that in mind. Let's go back to sorting by color. That may be the best overall deck. Now I really want to try the white. I think the white is more my play style, with just like lots of removal and lots of all-purpose removal, some flyers, etc. Now we've got removal, 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 removal. Good guys that trade for value, value card, Blood Rage Vampire. This seems more set up. This kind of brew seems more set up to take advantage of like Call to the Grave, Vengeful Pharaoh, because we can use, Diabolic Tutor counts as either one of the bombs that we're missing. We got these 3 cards. We would probably fill this deck out with either Shock, Incinerate, and some more white cards. Do we have anything over here that could make... Man, we've even got 2 Pride Defenders and a Celestial Purge against aggressive decks. Yeah, I'm not worried about aggro at all. I'm really only worried about green-white and white-blue style decks that are going to have counter spells, flyers, tempo plays like Aether Adept, that sort of thing. We've got so much stuff that handles them. Crown of Empires could be annoying, stops our Pharaoh, and we don't have a whole lot of creatures. But, see, this Blood Rage Vampire is not so good in this build. Well, I mean, it's still okay. I think I'd probably get a couple of the Shades in there. Maybe just one. And then play Shock, Incinerate, maybe the 2 Berserkers, maybe just the Blood Ogre. Because he's more splashable. And he's fine at any point in the game. I'm always fine with